All right, we're going to get started here. This is part three of our series, Make Social Media Work for You. So, if you've been here for the previous weeks, we have had Canva, which is an online platform where you can do lots of different graphic design and posts, and it's a little bit of magic of everything. I love Canva, which is why I did a class on it. Last week we did Facebook. We talked all about that platform and how it can really help your business and how you can get your business launched on there as well. And this week is Twitter. So, a little bit about your teacher. Hello, I am Rachel Evans, and I'm super awesome, is what the card says. Right now, I own a cafe in Benson called Edge of the Universe. Um, but I've been running organizations, their social media, their marketing, and advertising, especially for events, for over 10 years now in my careers. And I've also been commissioned to set up a lot of social media or just a full marketing platform for both for-profit and nonprofit organizations. I even used to work at Do Space, and I loved it there. And so now I'm back with Do Space to share some of my best tips and tricks on social media. So this week is Twitter, and Twitter can be a little daunting. I think it's a much more serious platform than the other social medias. There's larger groups of people or types of people for the different social medias that you'll see. For example, there's mostly the younger generation is on Instagram or TikTok. Um, and then you'll see kind of the middle generations, they're now more on Facebook, and predominantly a lot more women are on Facebook than um, men usually. And then on Twitter, that's where you're going to see a lot more business and business interactions. Um, so you want to make sure that when you're coming up with your Twitter plan, that first and foremost, you get your marketing plan ready. And we talked a little bit about marketing plans on the other platforms in my other videos that we've done. But with the right marketing plan, you can use this Twitter platform to just have incredible social media campaigns. A lot of people see an increase in sales. You definitely, with Twitter, can boost your brand recognition um, and increase customer service in general. Twitter, like Facebook, it's so easy to be in contact with your consumers or possible customers or getting into new groups. Um, there are over 300 million active users. So they're not counting any ones that have been, there's a lot of paid for profiles. There's, a lot of Russian profiles that probably aren't real. That's for a different video. And but there's so many active users. So many people are constantly using Twitter and taking a lot of their thoughts and feelings to Twitter. It's an awesome platform for businesses. Um, this is definitely a place where you can connect with new audiences. So, not just being able to find people your customers are already dealing with or your friends and family. I love Twitter because that's where you're getting into maybe a new group or a new book clubs of Omaha or something like that. Like those specialty groups that you can really jump in and be a part of and share your brand with them. Um, in every business I've ever met, just like with Facebook, they're definitely going to be on Twitter as well. And it's good to start interacting with them. Just business to business dealings is going to be hugely profitable to you. So definitely you want to make sure that you have your brand in place. and that you have your voice in place. We talked about that in another video as well, that you know how you should sound. You're going to be a lot of times giving really quick responses to people, if they're commenting or sending you a direct message, or if you're commenting on other things. So just make sure that if your company's kind of, it's more relaxed and it's funny, then be funny and keep that funniness up. But if you're more serious, or if you're more straight to the point, then that should always be your brand. Um, and that's pretty easy with a lot of these small businesses, because it's usually just you doing all your social media. I do all of ours for Edge of the Universe. Um, but if you do have a larger one, or if you've started your social media and you're now handing it off to someone else, really be specific about, what are some tag words, that you could use that be like, oh yeah, we're kind of like this. We're kind, we're fresh, we're young, we're excited for the day, we're this, or, we're relaxed. We want, people to feel relaxed here and calm, and we're deep in thought. Whatever your brand is, have it written down, have it ready to go, um, and ready to share with other people during your social media. So we're going to get started here on what your profile should look like. So this is a little screen grab from earlier, and this is ours for Edge of the Universe. So just like Facebook, we're going to talk about this top picture. This picture needs to be, this should say it all. A picture's worth 1,000 words, and this one is what your business is. It should be beautiful, exciting. It should look great. There are so many photographers out there, especially if you look on, Keeping Omaha Local. You'll find a lot of photographers that way. And it is worth the money. If you are not a good photographer, if you don't have a good camera, if you don't have a good eye, then please take the time, find a local photographer, take some beautiful shots. You could have all your products laid out, ready to go. You could probably get over 100 amazing photos for a 1-hour session. For mine that I did here, I was actually fixing something on our tree. It's a very tall, large tree if you haven't been in here. And so I was up on a ladder, and I'm like, oh, it's kind of cute. And I took that picture with my phone. It's not the best high quality picture, but I love the colors. I loved having the sun streaming in right then. And we didn't have anyone in the cafe at that moment, so it worked out great. So whatever this is, make sure that it is what your business is all about. One problem I definitely see with Twitter more than other places is that they have a very elongated rectangle shape. And that's true for all of the things. All their posts is going to have a very long rectangular shape, whereas Facebook and Instagram is more square. So make sure that when you are deciding what picture to put in here, that you have the right dimensions. And again, this is where I love Canva, because they have the dimensions already for you. So whatever you drop into that platform under Twitter header, it's going to fit perfectly. And then the other thing I see a lot with Twitter is people will have something with a lot of words on it. And when you upload, you don't have anything in front of it. It's just the picture. So they'll upload it and they see just the picture and think, yep, looks great. But then this will always be over it. So there's so many times where like they have this inspiring message, but you can't read it because their logo's right here. So just keep that in mind when you're putting up a picture. Always post it, and then always check to see how everything looks. And then I have our logo right here. And then, like we talked about before, making sure that your name is unique to your business, but as much as possible, make sure that your name is the same as you're going to see in on your Facebook, on your Instagram, on Twitter, like here. it should always be the same. So this is my same one that I have for all of them. I checked in detail to make sure that, Edge of the Universe itself was definitely gone. That was taken a long time ago, I'm guessing. So I shortened it and I added the BFF. And the reason I did that was because I couldn't just do Edge Universe, also taken. I didn't want to put any numbers in there. And I wanted, I felt like Edge Universe Omaha was kind of long. So instead I went with Edge Universe BFF, like Best Friends Forever. And it's really easy for people to remember as well when I explain the BFF. And for those who are familiar with Benson, Benson First Friday is one of our big events here, which is also BFF. So those letters definitely worked out in my favor. Next, you can only have a few characters to explain what your business is. So definitely choose those carefully. That's the other big hiccup with Twitter is unlike other platforms where you can just write and have, tons of hashtags. This, you're limited on characters. So you really can't go on and on like you can in other places. So mine is definitely short and to the point. So far as it just says, we're a themed cafe in Benson. We sell coffee, hot chocolates, cocktails, wine and beer, charcuterie boards, soup and bread bowls, and more. And then I have our link to our website. And then down here, you can see where tweets and Twitters and replies, media and likes, which if this wasn't a picture, I could probably click on it. So every time that you set it up, always have someone else look over it, and just especially looking over what you have for here, that it makes sense, and that it is coherent with other things. If you have a shorter one on Facebook, then it's okay to use the exact same one as on your Facebook page. Next, we're going to talk about posts. So posts are your number one dealings that you're going to be doing on your social media. So example, this is what they should look like. So keep these 3 things in mind. Your presence. How many times are you on posting on social media a day? I honestly feel that you should post at least 3 posts a day, just to keep people interested, people keep coming back. You don't necessarily have to have a marketed picture for each post. You could instead post an article that you read that made, that related back to your product or your brand or your business. Or if someone stopped by that day, take a picture of them and say like, hey, we were able to help this family and they were great. We're so glad they came. Any chance you can get to really be sharing on social media is just going to boost you. It's going to make people easier to find you and interact with you. And especially if you're taking pictures of your customers with their permission, please do not take a picture of someone without them knowing. And ask them like, hey, can I post this to our social media? Then they are like 99% of the time going to then reach out to your social media because they're going to want to see their picture and they're going to want to be able to share it as well. So, and then with your photos, make sure that they are definitely eye-catching. Like all the other social media, they are going to just be scrolling by. So you don't want to have just a few words. You definitely want to have that picture to make it pop and make people say, oh, what's that? I hadn't seen that before. And then always have a clear purpose. I think sometimes, I know I do this even in the morning, I'm like, oh, we're going to have this movie tonight and we're going to have this special tonight. And we just made this cocktail. So I kind of want to put everything in one post. That's never good. It's always better just to have one clear message. And then it gives you more things to post during the day. So, for example, I wanted to put a poison apple is the perfect way to end your small business Saturday shopping with a beautiful picture and then a bunch of hashtags, which we will talk about hashtags because they are my favorite thing of life. And in fact, let's talk about hashtags. Oh man, I'm so good. It was right my next slide. So Facebook and Instagram, you can hashtag all day long, all the things, but Twitter is going to limit you. Twitter is not going to allow you to have more than a certain number of characters. So you've got to be really mindful about what hashtags you use. I also just realized I misspelled hashtag, so that's fun. Good thing this isn't recorded, but it is. So first thing to do with hashtags or hashtags is you want to think of groups on Instagram or on Twitter. So those groups on Twitter, if those are the hashtags you want to get into because it's going to get more people. For example, there are a lot of very popular ones on Twitter that they have every week. Every week, you know that these certain hashtags are going to be in the millions and being tagged all over the world. These are things like Throwback Thursday. Tons of businesses, if you're smart, you're going to hold on to that Throwback Thursday. And what the idea behind it is it started off with people doing like their baby pictures or, you know, them when they're younger. It's that throwback. It's, you know, oh, remember in high school this happened. And it's a little memory that you can post. But these are really fun for businesses as well. If your business has been around for, you know, say 5-10 years, you can have Throwback Thursday and something that happened at the beginning of your business. Or one that I'd like to do, you know, my business is very young, but the building is old. So one thing that I can do to jump onto that hashtag for Throwback Thursday is to show what the building was previously. So, I mean, it's not technically my brand, but it's still an interesting part of the history that I'm now a part of being in this building. And they also have other really famous ones for Twitter, like hashtag follow Friday, or they'll do special hashtags. So like anytime, for example, anytime there's a new Star Wars film, there's going to be a special hashtag for it. Any big events, they're going to have their own hashtags. Or another really cool thing you can do is if you're having your own event, create your own hashtag. I did this all the time with events because then other people, when they're, you know, they're attending it, this is again in a world where there isn't a pandemic and tons of people can gather in one spot. So, you know, think all the way back to 2019 when that could happen. You could create your own hashtag. And then that is awesome because when people start sharing it, they're going to be able to just constantly connect back to your business and back to your brand. So, you know, for example, try to shorten your name, or, you know, if you're doing something special, like if we just started a new series called Hometowns. And so we could do a hashtag that was like hashtag EOTUN Hometowns, which, you know, would be stand for Edge of the Universe Hometowns. But get creative because you want to make sure that no one else has already done that hashtag. That's been an issue I've had with other organizations if they're doing something really, you know, really popular. So if they were doing like a 1920s New Year's and that was their hashtag, that probably wouldn't be good because it's definitely taken. So it's super easy. All you have to do is to type in hashtag into the Twitter, and it's going to look up and see, you know, how many times that's been used. If other people are, you know, hashtagging it right now, or when was the last time it was used. So you do have a lot of those options. And then, like I said before, if you have a business that's real similar to you, like look what their hashtags are doing. You know, is there especially like for ones in Omaha. I've learned about hashtag Omaha Weekend is a real popular one, or hashtag Omaha Drinks or Omaha Coffee. Because I'm, especially with my type of business, I'm looking for all the local people. So I'm just doing like, I'll just put in hashtag Omaha and then kind of see what's going to pop up and what's been really popular. Um, Another really popular one, and it's so funny, I think a lot of people don't think about it, but days of the week. If you're putting out something on Tuesday, put hashtag Tuesday. Those are always sharing into the millions. So it's a really good way to get noticed as well. So we're going to talk about getting noticed, getting those people's attention. So kind of like we talked a little bit before about posts and how you should be posting at least 3 things a day, but there's more that you could be doing. For example, we talked about pictures, making sure it represents your whole business and that they're beautiful, easily done on Canva. Another great one that I think people don't think of often is GIFs or GIFs for posts or posting on others' pages. And I love using GIFs because, again, like if I'm scrolling through Instagram and all of a sudden this picture's moving around, it's you getting noticed. It's you being a little bit more interesting. And it's going to help you show more of your brand and personality. There's been a lot of times where I've seen a business post like a GIF from, they posted that GIF from New Girl, and I love New Girl. So it's going to get me, it's something that I can relate to and be interested in and say, like, oh, they're probably funny and I should probably check out their business a little bit more. Um, or another way that I love doing it is if there is like another big Twitter following, this other organization put this really cute picture of a puppy, and I want to comment about that puppy. I could just write adorable, or I could look up GIFs about, someone reacting to something cute. And again, like it's just a way that you don't get scrolled past, that people are going to see you. And especially when you're doing that with another company, you're engaging with them. I feel like it's so much easier for people to engage back. They're going to appreciate that you took the time and effort to um, go find the right GIF or GIF. And it's nice because with Twitter, they have their own GIF keyboard. So when you go to respond and they ask, like, what would you like to add to your post? And you click on that, they have like, oh my gosh, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of different ones to choose from. And it's always good to kind of like scroll down through them, because the farther you scroll down, it's more likely that people haven't seen those ones. So you can feel a little different, a little special with yours. And then another great way is through doing a poll on your page. So to get the people talking about you through your very own page. Now, polls, they're so awesome because you're literally going to shout out to the world a question. And it's a great way to involve your consumers. And it's super easy. So all you have to do is craft your question, think of what you want, and then you're going to select what the responses should be. And then you click the compose box at the top of your home timeline. And then you're going to see a poll icon. It just looks like a little graph. Click on that. And then it's going to pop up exactly what you'll need to do. So you put in your question first, and then you put in your choices for what you want people to see or do. And I believe you can only list up to 4. And then by default, it stays open for 24 hours, but you can do it for a shorter time period if you wanted to, if you just wanted to do like during business hours that day, if you didn't want to check it later that night or something. And it could be so fun. I mean, you could think of things like, what should be, our next hot chocolate? Should it be, white chocolate? Should it be rosemary? Should it be uh, peppermint? Or should it be cherry hot chocolate? And then people can cast their votes. I mean, it's basically you're doing market research. They're giving you the exact answers of what you want to know from the public for free. Like, people will just jump in and tell you. And I know so many people that love those polls. Like, they will not let a poll pass them by. They want their vote heard, and they want to engage. And then this really cool thing will happen where, after people have said, like, oh, macaroni and cheese is the best side dish, after you cast your vote, it'll show you how many people have voted and what ways they voted for other things. And then it's even more engaging because a lot of people will start commenting on the poll. Why are they right, or why you should do this, or why, this is the right answer. And it's so cool. Like, I love being able to do those. And when people really grasp onto it, and you can even share on Facebook the link to it. So, you're grabbing you're like, hey, Facebook friends, come be my Twitter friends too. Come over here as well. And get them engaged and get them excited and talking. Another option is to live tweet. Live tweeting, it's for the fearless, like these birds. To be honest, I looked up the picture tweet, and that's the first picture that popped up. And, it felt very fearless. Look at them go. So live tweeting, it's a great way, especially if you have a certain topic, to get that trending on Twitter. It's kind of like to jumpstart what you want to say. And essentially what it is when you tweet your thoughts or your reactions to something. It's usually like a live event. So I know, like, sometimes it's with the news, like, you'll post the first news thing and how you feel about it, and then start live tweeting afterwards if it's like a constantly updated news story. Or it could be entertainment related. A lot of people will do like the Oscars or other awards shows, or sports things. I don't know a lot of sports, but like live tweet the Super Bowl. Again, when we have more sports and other things that we can live tweet about. Or another things that people do, they'll live tweet their events. And this is super popular. It is a great idea. Especially if you have a large event with a lot of things going on, live tweeting that just is constantly getting people engaged, and they can just look through and just be like, oh, wow, they're doing this now at this event, and they're selling this over here, and we should go check it out. And then you can even like create your own hashtag for that and use that and share that. That'll be a good way to invite people to see that you're live tweeting. And one thing to make sure that the best way to do this, I've seen a lot of people just live tweet, and they'll send out like, post after post after post after post. And that can get a little chaotic, especially on your page. You'll be like scrolling through 30 thoughts, which might be a lot for one page. So the best way to do this really is to just have one post, stating, wow, we're watching the Oscars tonight. I'm going to live tweet it from my cafe. It's going to be so fun. And then just respond to that first tweet. It makes it a lot easier for your customers to see you and to follow that thread rather than trying to scroll through just a bunch of different posts. And then also it's easier for people to jump into the conversation as well if you're just doing that one conversation rather than having post after post after post after post. So speaking of getting into the conversation, one thing you could do is to host a Twitter chat. Twitter chats, they're pretty straightforward, but they do require a very large and active follower base to be successful. So it'd be a little harder for me right now. I don't have, a national thousands of people following right now anyway. But if you are one of those lucky people that have a good following, you could totally say, have an online event and say, tomorrow we're going to host our own Twitter chat. We're going to be talking about this subject that means a lot to us. So, I mean, especially if you are, a nonprofit, you could host someone for the day, maybe an expert, part of your nonprofit, or someone, say you have a new employee and you want to, give them some of that platform or that time to talk straight to the people. Hosting a Twitter chat is such a great way to do it. It's a great introduction. And it's another way that you're telling your customers or your followers that you care, that you want to talk with them. You're not just throwing things at them, but you want to engage with them. You want to hear from them, hear their ideas, and to get their feedback. And you just grow on a more personal level with your customers. They definitely, I think people want that personal touch when it comes to their businesses and who they're dealing with and who they're talking with. And so this is such a good interaction. I think another way that people have used this is kind of like on Reddit, they have something called Ask Me Anything. And again, it's just engaging in that conversation. It's getting people interested. And so the way this happens is when several Twitter users discuss a specific topic, or they start simultaneously using a shared hashtag, is a good way that you can start these conversations. Usually, though, one Twitter user host a chat at a specific time. So it's usually like, hey, we're going to talk about this, or we're going to talk with this person at 3 p.m. today. And the host will then start tweeting out their thoughts or their questions. And this can get a little confusing because I think sometimes they'll post a question and then someone might have been typing a response to a previous question. So sometimes I think people shy away from it because it feels a little convoluted. You can get kind of lost. But there's a super easy way to do this. And that is when you are posting those questions, always start with like Q1 or Q2 for your second one, Q3 for your third one. That way, whenever people are jumping on, they should know, because I feel like it's pretty familiar now in the Twitterverse, that when they're responding to the first question, so Q1, they will then put A1 or A2 or A3, depending on which question they're answering. And feel free, like, if you feel like maybe your users don't know this or want to be familiar with this format, make a little note of saying like, hey, if you want to respond, please, if you're going to respond to Q1 with A1. The places that have definitely like described that first or giving that option like right at the beginning, you just have a much better, well thought out conversation. In Twitter chats, they're usually not like all afternoon. You definitely want to schedule them like you would an event, and they're usually about an hour. And that way it's really nice because then people can plan for it. They can say, okay, they're doing this Twitter chat from 1 to 1:30 or 1 to 2. And it gives people a good idea of how long it's going to last. They can expect how many people, may jump on during that time, or if they need to like schedule that time out themselves because they want to be part of the conversation, excuse me, they can do that. So just like you would an event, gone are the high school days where you would type an invitation and be like 8 to question mark. No, we're you should definitely wrap it up no longer than an hour. And then there's still ways that you then could jump onto other chats. If you don't have a big base right now, which I don't. So one thing that I do is I try to jump on to other chats that are happening. And so great way to do this, when you open up, you can look up trending. And this is going to tell you all of the trending topics. This is what was trending earlier today. Or sometimes they have like the hashtag Cobra Kai. This is kind of where I said like the Star Wars movies, they're always going to have a hashtag, and they'll usually have like a little icon. Or like big TV events. So anytime The Bachelor's on or Bachelorette, they'll be like hashtag Bachelor, and there'll be like a rose. So feel free to like look through these, and if anything at all comes up that's part of, especially like part of your brand or part of your business, jump on it and just be part of that conversation. Even if it's just like hashtag chocolate chip cookie and you're a mechanic, go buy a cookie and put it on a tire and be like, it's National Cookie Day, look at that. Because the more that you are part of the conversation, the more people are going to find you. And which brings us to our next slide. Wow, interacting with influencers. And this is so important because interacting with the right people on Twitter is going to make it so much easier for people to find you. It's always smart to engage your customers and just getting them excited and learning about your brand and business, because there's probably so many quote unquote influencers that are going to fit right with you. So for example, we're actually going to go back here. You can click on a slide or click on, Cobra Kai, see if it's trending, and it will either give you an option to see how many people, or what's the newest tweet, or what's the top tweet. And so this is how you find influencers. For those who aren't familiar with that term, what that means is basically someone who has a lot of followers on a certain social media platform. When I mean followers, I mean we want to find someone like who has into the thousands of people following them. Or, if you have someone into the millions, that would be really great. So say you find a topic, we're going to use this again, Cobra Kai. We're going to click on it. It's going to give you the option to look at all the tweets that are just the newest. And those aren't going to have a lot of likes or anything. Or you can click on it and find someone who has like the top tweet. Most of the time, if someone has tons of people who have liked and reshared their tweet, it's because they already have a lot of followers. Those are the ones you want to try to find. Especially if there are local influencers who could, buy your product or talk about it or repost it. You can look up and see how many of their followers are, and feel free to like send them a direct message just like, hey, I see you have a lot of followers and you're also a mom. You're probably interested in my, baby skincare line. And maybe they are, maybe they aren't. I think a lot of times businesses will send them like a little sample of something, or like, hey, why don't you come in, try our hot chocolate, take a picture, and post it up on your social media. And it's such a crazy thing to think about how probably like 60 years ago you'd have to like make this specific commercial to get people interested or to see you. And now you just have to like talk to the right business person or talk to the right mom or even like talk to the right college student that has thousands and thousands of followers. And you could totally boost your brand overnight. Overnight, people might go nuts for it. I constantly have people who are like, oh, yeah, my friend reposted you on Instagram. And so that's why I'm here today. Or, you know, I saw your post on here and, or you retweeted this and I was also following that. And I mean, anytime that you're out there in the social media or that other people are talking about you, it's just going to help your business that much more. The more you take advantage of finding like the right Twitter list or the right groups of people, or even like making friends with the journalists who are super friendly, who are there for your cause. Those are all potential customers. And those are all potential people who are then going to want to come buy what you're selling. One thing I love to do is, again, find a great hashtag, especially a local one. And then same thing. So same idea with the Cobra Kai. You're going to hit either that top or that latest and scroll through what other people are posting. Are you missing out on something else that's happening on like hashtag Sunday in Omaha or like hashtag Omaha weekend? And if there's someone else who's also posting the same hashtag, has thousands of followers, hit them up, start talking with them, post at them, or even tweet at them. There's a couple different times when I had something specific. So we had a lot of events and drinks last week surrounding Hanukkah. Hanukkah's still going on. Happy Hanukkah, everyone. And then even though I didn't know exactly who was running the JCC Omaha Twitter, I still added them to my post because I wanted them to be able to see it. So just adding someone or a group of people who would be interested in what you're selling and doing. I've done that before. I've even tagged some news, KETV or KMTV, just because they might pick it up. They might be interested in it, or they might not. And it's not like they're ever going to yell at you like, hey, you tagged us in this, and I don't like it. No, they're probably just going to move on. So it's okay. So I want to talk a little bit, interact with your influencers. So there's a lot of things. I was reading about about Twitter and getting how to like boost your business. And there's one thing that I found a couple of places that have said this as a do, but I'm going to say this as a big old don't. And that is, don't buy followers. You're going to get people who will send you a direct message like, hey, pay us $20 and you'll have 1,000 new followers. Or I'll get emails sometimes like that, especially if you are a new business. You are going to get these constantly. And there are some places that are like, oh yeah, it's good to buy followers because then it looks like you have a lot more people following you. It's really not. It's really detrimental to buy followers. The reason, I understand why it's tempting. It's the appearance. However, those followers are not real people. They're not anyone who's interested in your brand or interested in your nonprofit. And they're most likely just computer generated. They're literally not a real person. So you might spend this money just to make it look like tons of people are following you, but it's not going to comment on any of your posts. It's not going to share anything. And they're never going to interact with your brand. So in the end, you're just wasting money on something that's literally going to bring you nothing. A good thing to do is definitely, out of all the social media platforms, download the Twitter app. The Twitter app is so well integrated with their web platform. The transition from tweeting on your computer to tweeting on your phone, or if you're using a tablet of some kind, it is seamless. I do have some problems if I am working on the computer, working on Facebook, and then go to my phone, working on Facebook. There are some bugs in between the two systems. There are things that just don't work as well. Not with Twitter. Twitter, literally, it is such a well-developed app. They did a great job on it, and so I highly recommend being able to use it on your mobile device or on your tablet. And another great reason to download it is that life on Twitter is really fast. It is post after post after post, and you either see it or it's gone. I kind of feel like with other platforms, they hang out for a few days, but um, if someone's tweeting at you, you're going to want to tweet back as soon as possible. So being able to use their app, and that it's such a great app, is really beneficial. It's really going to help you out. Um, the other thing I want to mention, which is a big do, especially like if you're really hopping on Twitter, you're feeling really good about it, you should add it to your website. And again, it's just another way that people can find more ways to interact with you. If they're on your website, they see your Twitter, they can then hop over onto your Twitter. I have a pretty active web page, and so I will actually be doing this very shortly. But I looked up on how to do it. So it's called a widget. So to add a Twitter widget to your website, again, like I said, it's going to show everyone who visits your webpage that you're active on social media, and they're going to see right away, like they might be on your website, and then all of a sudden you're tweeting about this sale that you might not have, taken the time to put on your website. People are going to jump on that sale, get excited about it. To create a Twitter widget, super easy, like I said. So you go to your twitter.com, so make sure you're signed in. And under the settings, you'll see a little thing that says widget, which is WIDGETS. And then you can click new. After you click new, it's going to take you to a page where you can really customize what you want that widget to kind of grab and show. So sometimes people will do just like your favorited tweets. So you're telling this thing like, hey, just put up the favorites or my top tweets. You don't have to put on everything. Or if you just want a certain list, so like I just want, anytime we've shown this picture, don't put up if there's an article or a poll, just the pictured post or something like that. So you can create your own list about what is going to pop up with that hashtag. And then, or you can even do a search for like a specific hashtag if that's the only one you want on there. And once you're happy with it, the size, the link, the color, the theme, like you can just really customize it, which is awesome. Then you just have to click create, and it will take you to a new page with an HTML code. And then that is what you will need to embed it onto your website. That might sound like a lot of steps, but it's pretty easy, and it definitely makes your page pop. I do love when I go onto a website and I can see their Twitter. I can see that they're talking with people, they're interested in their customers. Or I've been with nonprofits that they've had that on there, and they're able to get more of their information out that way as well. And so, like I said, I have not been good about putting it on there on the website, so I'm going to be doing that shortly. So yeah, I even learned something this week, and now I have homework. Um, and that is it for Twitter. So thank you so much. Like I said, my name is Rachel Evans. Here's my shameless plug for my cafe. It's in Benson. Everything is delicious. We serve everything from coffee to cocktails. So you can come on by, say hello. Let's talk about social media and marketing. You can also feel free to reach out. I create marketing plans. So if you have questions on that, my email is down below, rachelevansemail@gmail.com. Um, yeah, so thank you so much. Happy holidays, everyone, and we'll see you later.
Thank you so much to everybody who joined, and thank you again, Rachel, for holding another class for us. Have a good day, everybody.